What up, YouTube? It's your boy Banks, and we back in the building. You feel me? It's True Talks, cause True Talks. All right, let's get straight right into it. So you already know, obviously, the in-season tournament, man, has been a hit. You feel me? Clap your hands off for to Adam Silver. Obviously, you know he's been out here. You know what I'm saying? He's been out here doing the right moves. Obviously, from the playing tournament. Now you got the in-season tournament. A lot of people, you know, at the beginning, oh my God, this in-season tournament. What is this? I'm not a fan, and I was always like, dog, y'all gotta understand something. Like two things: the in-season tournament, the timing. If this was a tournament that kind of overlapped all the way to the new part of the season, like remember, you gotta understand how the season works. If you're locked in, like if you just really paying attention, right? As a purist, you know, I do this. You know what I'm saying? Always, just from a player standpoint and just a player's perspective, the second half of the season, once it's like they always say the regular season don't start till Christmas Day, right? It always was like that. So the first part of the season, obviously people are tuned in and stuff like that, but especially now, before it was different, but now people start going through the motions. You get some 1-2 injury, teams aren't familiar yet, all that type of stuff is just kind of like, you know, and because it's the pace of the game and the tempo is just so uphill, and all, you get blowouts a lot of the time, you know, it's so easy to feel like there's no competition, especially leading up to this season, right? In terms of the intensity from a defensive aspect of things, right? Intensity is always created from a lot of the times just the defensive composition of everybody on the team, like locked in. And normally that doesn't happen till Christmas Day and then around All-Star break, post All-Star break, where it's this playoff push. Those two parts of the season is when you kind of get a spike in, you know, in tiers in terms of the intensity. Intensity is not from an offensive perspective. It's just defensive perspective. And once the defensive intensity perspective or the defensive intensity increases, then now you get better offense. Not better offense, but you could see whose offense really means what when the defense is really playing. And then not only that, now you get more intensity. Man, start talking more. You know, it's more intense. Anytime the game is more intense, the level of play just automatically rises. It's just from a hooper perspective, right? The energy, right? So when you look at it from that perspective, this NBA was kind of like, dog, people don't really be watching till this point. So if we do the in-season tournament at the beginning, the first half before Christmas, because we already know people are locking at Christmas, because we're the only thing that's on around Christmas, at Christmas anyways, everyone's watching NBA. So it's the before that. So if we could do the in-season tournament before that and increase the intensity and all that type of stuff, give a $500,000 reward before Christmas too. Like, you got to pay attention to all these things. So when you see that, automatically the players are going to buy in. And then the coaches are going to make the players buy in, because for teams who are not even the bad teams, let's say the bad teams, it's a win-win, because one, you get the bread, right? So role players are going to try more because they get a $500,000 to role players mean more than to the stars. But the stars also getting that is like, what? Easy Christmas money I can give to Shawty. I can give to, you know what I mean? Give a one kids, you know what I mean? Like, that be happening, right? So you got to think from that perspective. It's a win-win. Then on top of that, the coaches look at it as like, even the bad teams, like, we could actually get playoff type of atmosphere, intensity rise in terms of the play, and we could it's a teachable moment. Sometimes experience is the best teacher, and that's the problem with the bad teams, is like, it's hard to kind of get mans to understand, you gotta be fine-tuned to these type of principles and these type of details and this type of, you gotta keep this type of kind of thought process and this type of lock-in mentality. It matters for when we're here. But a lot of the times the bad teams don't ever get there, so they don't start until when you bring veterans, until the team starts winning. Then now they start to pay attention to those little things, right? But now if you could really give experience, like, you see, that's why we lost. You see, when Mans was intense, we never get that playoff atmosphere in terms of that defensive lock-in push intensity, and we have to now deal with that. We're always in regular season, So if we can get now playoff type of play without being a playoff type of team, this is real teachable moments. Now we could turn our team around like this. You really get that experience that a lot of teams don't really get that experience until the team is actually good. And that's why it's always like teams have to experience this before they elevate. Now it's a win-win. There's multiple layers of what this in-season tournament actually does from a fan base perspective and just the game overall in terms of just the intensity and in terms of just the energy to feel from the players. And then on top of that, the players actually love it. So when the players actually love it, you could tell from the jump that the players were going to love it. From LeBron saying he wants to win that. From just like, you could tell. So when the players love it, it's always going to be a good thing. Forget the fans. The fans will always love it when the players love it. Because the players will play and they will try, and the fans will love when the players try. It's just a chain reaction. You gotta. So from time I told people, yo, this in-season tournament is gonna be for real. It's gonna be for real. Especially when Tyrese comes out saying, yo, if we can win the in-season tournament, we automatically get a playoff berth. You already know that that's what Mans. If that's what Mans is thinking, they're taking this serious. They're taking this serious. So I already knew what time it was, and this is not a 1-year thing. This has been in the works. They've been hearing of this, like. For them to, like, you know what I mean? Like, you got to understand behind the scenes, like, the players have to be buying anyways for you to just implement certain things. And even if they don't buy in, it's like they trust Adam Silver at this point. So that's just the first thing I just want to get out the way. Like, sometimes just because you don't see it from your own perspective and be like, oh, my God, I don't care about – you don't care about something, you don't know what you're going to care about until it happens. You know? Think from both sides, from both spectrums. This is weak if it's in this realm. But if it's in this realm, could it be good? And then you kind of, it's the same thing, right? With the Harden trade, I'm going to talk about that, obviously, so stay tuned. Just a lot of these things. So, you know, you got to see things from one end of the spectrum and then the other end of the spectrum and then make a decision off IQ. And that's how I move. That's why if you follow me, if you pay attention, again, click that notification button so you know when I'm here, because I'm here, you feel me? No man dictates what I be saying, or no man, like, I don't care what the players, don't matter. I don't care about none of that shit. It's just about the game, no emotion, nothing. We just assess this and then look from the other end and then, okay, you know what? And then make a decision. And then, you know, that's how I love the game that much and my eyes work. So it's just, that's how the game is. Every man who hoops for real, every professional, this is how they think. It's not a man just tell you something. Yo, what we doing? Let's watch the film, okay? That's what you see. No, that's what I see. But what is the right thing to see? And then, you know, and boom, 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 and that's how they communicate. It's a real, you know what I mean? So if you're a hoop head, you understand what I'm talking about as a purist. That's why I say purist. Purist is, there's mans who hoop that just don't have IQ and they just get off of raw talent. There's a difference between hooping and then a purist type of hooper. It's another level of savant. You know what I mean? It's another level of understanding the game and paying attention to, you know, little things. So that's what I'm on. That's the time I'm on, and I just do my best to kind of, you know, just pay it forward. So that's where the passion comes in. So obviously this in-season tournament is beautiful to see. We love it. So now let's go into what obviously happened, you know? Let's go into that context, because I give it that context. Let's go straight right into it, boy. I know y'all used to breakdowns, but today we just going to have a conversation, you know what I mean? We're going to have a conversation about, first we're going to talk about the Pacers and the Bucks game. So one thing that I'm going to just talk about first is Tyrese is him. We already get that. We get that. And we're going to talk about that as well, too. But I don't want to make this too long. I want to do my best because we got a lot to talk about today. But first, we're going to talk about Dame and the Bucks. And this is where I struggle because I be watching them. And I'm going to start locking in more with watching. I try my best to watch all games. But, you know, life, family, kids, all that type. You know, making videos takes so much hour. You know, you try. But I'm locking in as you see the output increasing. But again, with Dame and the Bucks, the problem, if you know Dame, and I be locking with Dame, and I see him for Portland, I've been watching him and just see, because, you know, I love his mentality, I love his bucket getting ability, and just, you know, I hope it's very similar to Dame anyway. So when I see a guy that be doing what I be doing, it's just beautiful to see, especially on the NBA stage. So when you look at it from that perspective, Dame, his shots that he was getting in Portland is completely different. Not completely, but the rhythm and how it comes about is different. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you have Giannis, who is so used to running downhill. I kind of am the point guard, even though I'm not the point guard, but I'm the point guard. And anytime I'm off or I don't feel like it, now I give it to Drew and I start setting the screens. But for the most part, I'm ball handling. I get the rebound, we pushing. Like, I'm a point forward kind of at the same time, right? So, because that's his skill set. And then the floor space with Lopez at the 3, Bobby Portis at the 3, all their bigs can shoot. You can't be a big in that system and not be able to shoot, or else it's going to cancel Giannis. So that's why it works. They have the perfect compilation of fit and talent and skill sets. So that's why they, regardless of who's on their team, they're always a regular season monster. top 3, top 4 regardless. And in just playoffs, because the game changes in playoffs, now you kind of figure out. And that's why they get exposed sometimes. And then now when they had Drew with the defense, and then Drew can move, and then they even play differently once it's playoffs. It's Middleton and Drew closing, and Giannis is kind of screening, right? But in the regular season, they don't do that, and they give it to Giannis. It's just, it's kind of like you don't know what's going on. So Adrian Griffin is coming in, and it's unfortunate that his first year with the team is the year that they get a whole new superstar in Dame. So it's like, I know how this team runs, but I'm also going to have to incorporate Dame, which is not the same as Drew. Dame really does this. The range is different. It's a Steph Curry-like ability. But the problem with Giannis is now, I was expecting, this is why I was saying Dame is going to go to a whole new point, and people are looking at it like, oh my God, see, that's why Steph is better than Dame. We're not going to even get into that conversation. I told you, they have very similar skill sets. The problem with Dame now that's happening, not Dame's fault, but Giannis is not incorporating that Draymond Green aspect of his game that he could actually tap into and unlock when you have a skill set with Dame alongside you. That's what made Steph go to this whole new level. That relocating, all that shit that they were doing. Remember, Steph wasn't doing all that relocating when Mark Jackson was there, when he was running the regular point guard. He was averaging only 23. He went to 30 points per game when they changed the offense when Steve Kerr came and they made him, Steve Kerr is an off-ball shooter. So he knows, Steph, you're a shooter by design first. Your ball handling came after. You're a shooter first. Scoring, all that comes after, but you're a shooter first. That's your main part. That's who you are. You know what I'm saying? First. Let him move like a Rip Hamilton. Let him move like a Ray Allen, whatever, and then he will be 2.0 version of that because he can shot create in that as well too, and ball handle. So he just is on steroids. But the offense changed to this movement, this relocating and movement or nonstop movement. And obviously, Steph has the endurance to do that. And then when you're now doing that, and then you can only do that when you have a Draymond Green power forward, point forward guy who can have the ball, knows when to set screens, knows when to hit a man, knows when to not, and all of that. That's what unlocked that whole team and Steph to a whole new stratosphere. Dame, obviously, people don't see that he can move around and all. If you pay attention to Dame does have off-ball movement. That's how him and CJ were only able to work with Terry Stotts. Bare off-ball movement, even when working with LaMarcus when he first came in, off the pin downs, especially when they had Plumlee. Like, they did a lot of off-ball work with Dame. So it's not like he doesn't have off-ball game. It's just that he never had a power forward to facilitate like that. So he's not going to move. And he doesn't have the relocating like Steph because that's different type of conditioning. But he still moves off the ball. And he doesn't have to move like that when Giannis is not the same as Draymond. Giannis has an actual downhill, athletic, unstoppable bag. Not bag, but he's a menace downhill. He's unstoppable, just running downhill, Euro punch, all of that. So everybody's going to collapse, especially in transition. So that's the time you hit Dame, and he's going to get all those deep threes. Steph be getting bare threes in transition. You can hit Dame bare times whenever he's open. If Giannis is just hitting him, it's going to now make it open for Giannis to even get easier buckets. And then they could literally blow out teams by 10 and have a similar regular season to like the Warriors before, where they're literally like just blowing everybody out. Not that 73-9, but in that ballpark where you kind of, that's why playoffs is a different game. Transition stops. All these things stop. Intensity increases. Defensive, paying attention to man's defensive weaknesses and just defensive IQ and tendencies increase and they heighten. In the regular season, it's not like that. So transition play really kills man's in regular season, especially with a take foul existing. You get abused in transition. The Bucks should be abusing in transition, but a lot of the time Giannis is running, and then he now passes late, and then they cancel a lot of opportunities. Dame should be averaging 30 easily, just barely. He can literally average 5 transition threes a game, especially because his range is that far. But Giannis is not applying that Draymond facilitating aspect to his game, which is why you have to appreciate Draymond to that, that next level. But if Giannis applies that and changes his game a little bit, just fine tweaks, because Drew don't pull from that far, so you can get away with dribbling it in and pass to Drew late and whatever. But when you have Dame who has a different three-point shooting bag and different three-point shooting skill set, you have to change and tweak how your vision a little bit, because you have a new personnel running alongside you in transition. So that already is hindering them. Then on top of that, Dame is running the PNR and they're getting trapped a lot of the times, and it's just a different offense. So that's why Dame is not having the same type of rhythm. He's playmaking more, because that's how the role players are. Role players are getting way more open looks than they ever got, because Dame's being trapped that far like Steph at half court, because the range is so far, unlocks a 4-on-3 from there, and then mans are open and easy shots. That's why Beasley's having a career in terms of his shooting. It makes sense in all of this. So when you look at it from that perspective, you have to understand that, okay, you know what? Let's pay attention to these things. Let's see what's happening with the Bucks. Now, in this in-season tournament, a thing that's also hindering Dame's efficiency and his rhythm is also at the same time that he's changing to a new team and adjusting with all of this, he's also, you can see that he's lost a little bit of a step in his athleticism. And I'm just keeping it a buck. And Dame's my guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I rate Dame heavily more than most of them. To me, Dame and Kyrie's the top two PGs anyways. I have them higher than Steph. Even though I know Steph is Himothy, I just treat Kyrie and Dame, they're just more Himothy in my eyes. Especially when you have that clutch ability potent like that. It's always more rateable than, and that's a different discussion. So, it's just me. I just critique things differently, especially because I can really hoop. Things that are important to y'all aren't as important to me. You know what I mean? Because I know the difficulty in that. I know what's more difficult. The most difficult thing in basketball is getting buckets in clutch scenarios with the best defender on you who knows your weaknesses and guarding you with no screen. Because it doesn't mean every time you have to score no screen. That's not what I'm saying. There's going to be times where what if you ask for a screen and they cancel it? They cancel it. Now you have 8 seconds left on the clock. Are you going to run a screen? Or every time you run a screen, they trap to get the ball in your hands? Are you just going to be not a useless guy, just passing and they get the ball? That's what they want to do. They want to get the ball in your hands. Are you going to just adhere to what they're doing? No. You know what? If every time I run a screen, you're trapping me to get the ball in my hands, forget the screen now. Mano. That's what we doing. Because I'm the best guy on the court. And the buckets have to come from me. Our palms are sweaty right now. It has to come from me. That's what I be talking about. Fans don't understand that shit. Stat sheet don't understand that shit. It's a different type of thought process when you really hoop and you're really there and you understand what matters. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I have Kyrie and Dame at a whole, because the one-on-one bag is unlimited. They don't shy away from the best guy. They could kill and take the best defender's soul where they feel like, oh my God, there's nothing I could do. Steph is now making that a priority. You could see now in clutch. He's not asking for screen. He be seeing. I'm telling y'all, man. They be seeing. So anyways, when you look at it from that perspective, when I look at Dame and I could see that he lost a step. And you could see that he missed a wide open dunk in transition. Like, even his layup takes are more grounded. His burst off the blow by off the head screen. That's why the traps are working more, because he's not that he used to do this through the legs move. He used to dribble and once he lands the through the legs, he used to blow by. Like, all of that shit he's not doing that the same right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't know if it's the last injury that he had when from last year, or I don't know what. I don't know. You know what I mean? But something. Or maybe also, too, when you get older, he has to now maybe lose more weight and get better conditioning. Because, again, that now makes you slower, especially someone who's hooping and been that. When you gain a little bit of weight, the burst is different. You can see that in Harden. And even it's not heavy weight. It's just that when you're at this certain type of weight, when now you might lose a slow step, it's not that you've lost a slow step. It's that the weight that you're at, that you normally are able to still be at that weight and still be hella athletic. Now, when you get a bit older, you have to slightly cut off that weight. And then that step where your good maximize fast twitch step would be, that weight where you're at has to sometimes change. So that fast step, fast twitch, everything that's happening, and where you don't get tired and not fatigued, that weight that you're at, that you're used to your whole career. Now, when you get older, you have to drop it a little bit, and then you'll get back to that burst. But if you stay in this weight, that burst is gone. I don't know if I hope y'all kind of can follow me. You know what I'm saying? So he's at the same weight he's been, where his burst is always there. But now you could see, it's kind of slightly a little bit, which is why, he sometimes he be huffing and puffing when he shouldn't be, and he's tired, like, is grounded on his layups, all that type of stuff, like where he normally is not, especially if you're looking at Dame. And so if he just cuts off a little, like 5 to 10 pounds. It doesn't mean heavily. It might be in the thighs. It might be sometimes when you just lose weight, it goes from different places, right? It's not doesn't necessarily have to be just completely the upper body. When you just lose the weight, it will come from, just your thigh mass might change a little bit. Now your burst is off. But if your thigh weight decreases a little bit, then now your burst, you know what I mean? I'm speaking, you know what I'm saying? It's just, I can't really fully explain it because I'm not a trainer. I mean, I'm a trainer, but I'm not like one of them, weightlifting type of trainers. I just kind of just off of hooping, you kind of know. So, you know what I mean? So I could see that with Dame, and that's kind of affecting at the same time with the rhythm being off, and I could see that. So if you looking, fam, just cut that a little bit. I don't know if some man has told you, but you could feel, exactly what I'm talking about. You be tired in certain scenarios that you shouldn't be, that you just go to the corner. You know how I'm talking about, man. Come on now. I do this. So he knows, but at the end of the day, you could see that, and that's kind of having an effect. And then on top of that, in this in-season tournament game, dog, down the stretch, I'm seeing Dame running PNRs with Lopez instead of Giannis. Like, I don't know where they do that at. Why was that the case? Like, I don't know if it's because of the PNR or there's some, like, you could see that once Tyrese and them were snapping and the game turned around in the fourth and they were like taking the lead and taking advantage, you could see that the Bucks kind of were like flustered. They weren't running the same sets that they run. It was like Dame was like, okay, I'm going. And then Middleton's like, okay, I'm going. And Giannis, okay, I'm going. It's just like man's just trying to answer back quickly. And they were kind of not in the same poised mindset, like you know what I mean? Because again, it's like playoff. It's like sometimes that happens in playoff atmosphere when you're not familiar, especially at this point in the season. Man's are just trying to take over at their own merit. Where that's where the coach has to step in and kind of relax. We good, run this. We good, run this. And you could maybe see that's probably why Bobby Portis is getting that angry at where he's at. Because, dog, if this is who we are, we're not going to – this is literally a playoff type of Game 7 type of game. Like, this is what we doing. That last end part of the game reminded me of, like, when the Clippers in the bubble, when they were just flustered. You can kind of see it's not the same team that was moving. It's not the same team. So, I can understand from Bobby Portis' perspective, maybe yelling at Adrian Griffin and the whole team, like, dog, this is what we got to do. And hopefully Adrian Griffin was receptive, because just because you're a coach, just because you're a ref, just because you make a call and you're in a position of power and you make doesn't mean you're right. Doesn't mean you're still a man. You still tie your shoes. You still go to sleep. You eat. You have kids. We're the same. You could be wrong too. You're just a man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I could be wrong too. A man created that. We just a man. You know what I'm saying? Like, perspective is everything. What Bobby Portis sees, what other men see on the team, what they're expecting to run, and what the coach decided could be off. So sometimes you have to be receptive. The best teams down the line when it matters, that win championships, the best championship teams have a level of accountability that is y'all wouldn't even be able to survive in that if y'all were there. It's a real level of accountability that will never be shown, that the players try to tell you. They try to tell you, oh, accountability. But that kind of sometimes is fights. Sometimes it's, yo, let's square up. Now, who you talking to? Dog, I'm right. And sometimes because of emotions, sometimes when you tell a man something that hits his soul in that moment of emotion, he gets defensive. And that's where the fight comes off. Because who you talking to? You don't talk to me like that. You're the one, the end of the bench. You don't even play. You're telling me? Dog, what did you do? You're 2 for 7. And sometimes mans do that shit. If you play 2K, you get with that even on 2K. When man's in heat of the moon, you lose a game and, yo, you're 1 for 7. What does that have to do with the last 5 plays when we're in a tight game? This is what we did. And this is what you did. Forget all that other shit. This is what you did. Hold your feet to the fire, man. You know what? I got to be better. Simple. But sometimes, you know what I mean? And that's what I'm expecting. Adrian Griffin, who seems like a real man, I'm expecting him to, sometimes Bobby Portis' approach might be, he's the same man that snuffed, you know what I mean, Mirotic. So, you know what I mean? Sometimes your soul gets challenged. I'm a man, don't talk to me, don't raise your voice. Same thing like when Udoka's like, yo, y'all just acting like bitches, yo. LeBron in his soul is like, dog, don't call me no bitch. He didn't call you a bitch like that. Come on, fam. You know better. Like, y'all just crying so much. Y'all crying like bitches. I didn't say y'all are bitches. You're just crying like one. Stop crying. There's some now, you calling me a bitch, like, dog. And then we get into that, and then now, you know what I mean? Sometimes man just they don't want to hear certain things at the certain time, and that's where sometimes as a person in leadership has to get better, But it is what it is. But the point is, at the end of the day, the Bucks were running certain things that they didn't look like themselves, but themselves they don't even really know yet because it's this point of the season, which is why the in-season tournament is a great thing, because you're sometimes, especially for the Bucks, who struggle in playoffs a lot of the times. Remember, they just came off a year where they lost in the first round as the number 1 seed. Regardless if Giannis was injured, he played 3 games or 2 games after that. If you get playoff type of atmosphere games early in a season, where you could see, oh, this is how we go to move in the clutch. A lot of the times, even if it's regular season tight games, you don't know how your team's really going to be in playoff atmosphere until playoff comes, because it's a different level. This is the closest thing to playoffs. Even regular season games were not this intense as the in-season tournament games, if you've been paying attention. It's literally felt like playoff games, playoff games. The court change, everything is beautiful. So when you look at it from that perspective, if I'm a team in December 7th, December 6th, I could get a playoff type of game that early, when we just got our team familiar at the beginning of the season. Oh, that's good. This is how we move in palm sweaty in game 7 type scenarios. All right, we got to find. Now I get a real clear information and clarity of what I got to do now to tweak things as a coach moving forward, because I didn't know we would move like this until it happened. And sometimes game 7 is too late in first round, and then you don't know. So that's why this in-season tournament has a lot of layers that is beautiful in how it's going to improve, just the authenticity of the game, and just the aspect of, okay, we got to lock in here. We got to, fine tweak some things as just a organization and just a team, multiple teams, every team, all 30. It's all positive. So I like what I see from there. You know what I'm saying? That's beautiful to see. And Dame, he'll get better. It's just the beginning. You know what I mean? And Giannis has to tweak some things too. And I didn't like certain things from their perspective. So now we go to the Pacers. Like, dog, Tyrese beat him. Just before I continue, be careful, Tyrese, because you're doing that Dame, and I like it and I rate it. And I might have done it too in that moment, but I'm ready for the smoke. If Dame comes back and is like, I'm going to get 50 on your bean, I'm going to have to answer to that, and we're going to have to go to war. You know what I'm saying? I know every decision you do, you got to be ready for the response. You know what I'm saying? If you're really him, he knows what he's doing. And I really think he's him, so I really think he's ready for the smoke if Dame brings it back anyway. And Dame, the same way he gets up for All-Star, the next game 50. Like, you got to pay attention. Like, guys of that ilk, they treat things differently. Little things matter. Oh, you looked at me with a side eye? I'm killing you for the next 5 plays. Like, know who's who. It's a level of, like, we sensitive with those things. When you of that ilk, you have to be. That's the only reason why you're there. You know what I'm saying? So, like, Tyrese, you have to be careful. But I don't think he needs to be careful because, again, I love it. I love every man stepping into, I'm him. And then so you get the best version of yourselves battling, and we can really see who's really him. You know what I'm saying? That's what I love. I love that shit. You know what I'm saying? So Tyrese cooking and doing all of that, like, that was beautiful to see. It was more so of, like, it was which way? It was respect, but it also could be seen as, oh, you disrespecting me? You doing Dame time? I'm the clutch one, and he didn't perform in the clutch, so that's why it can hit different. It can hit Dame so differently. You know what I'm saying? He has dreams when he goes to bed. When I catch that, I'm a fry. You know what I'm saying? So, but Tyrese is him, dog. The Pacers, this is what you have to understand, like, with the Pacers, where obviously they don't have the greatest defense. We get that. But when you have an output level of this on offense, when you have, like, Tyrese is doing the Luka, Braun, Harden play style, but at a whole different echelon. What I'm saying is that, one, his skill set is unlimited. So he can play off the ball. He can play on the ball. He has elite vision just like them, all that type of stuff. But his 3-point shooting skill set, like, he's doing 50, almost 50, 50, 90, like, whatever that is, is reckless. His 3-point as a point guard too, with that output, averaging this amount, that's reckless. That's unheard of. So when you have somebody who literally, and it's because there's a funky shot, a la Kevin Martin, so very unorthodox, right? And it's making it work. When you have someone who's that potent in this play style where you pass the shooters, you dime to bigs, you dime it's literally when you pass and you dime, it's easy. They shoot right away, pump fake, 1-dribble pull. It's literally automatically assist. It's not like I'm giving it to a man to ISO and I go chill out, even though he can if he wants to. And he does sometimes. But regardless, he doesn't have to because the vision is so potent and his skill set. He only shoots. That's why his efficiency is that high. He only shoots like what the defense gives him. He doesn't force shit, which is why he's just a very, very smart player, which is why people buy into him. They lead with him. And then the offensive pace and the potency of that offense is so elite that now man's play better defense. And it's not that they don't play defense. It's just that the pace is so high and the tempo is so high. There's certain things you just can't stop. When you have long misses, transition, you're in a fast tempo game. It's the same thing with the Nets. It's not like they weren't playing defense when they had Kyrie, KD, and Harden. It's not that they weren't playing defense. It's just that the pace was so high. The potent scoring was so high that now, you're going to give up some shit sometimes. Especially in transition, you're going to. But you better make every shot. You're going to match us because we're going to make every shot or majority. And that's what happens with the Pacers. That's why they be winning games. Mans can't match their output. They can't match that. That's similar to the Rockets too. Rockets did have defense. Don't get it twisted. But like with Harden and them. But it's just the output. If you can't match the output, it's hard to keep up, if we're just this efficient. You can't stop us. Eventually, you're just going to stop yourself because you're going to miss an open shot, even if we play no defense. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at it from that perspective, That's why the Pacers are literally both Lakers and Pacers, 5-6-0, whatever it is, in the regular in the in-season tournament. And it's just Tyrese is literally leading his team at a whole different level, but he's doing that Luka Bron Harden play style to like a young version that we never seen before. And this is what I always expected that play style to really be. This is why I sometimes get frustrated with Harden, Luka, and Bron, because it's like if it doesn't go their way, or if you don't catch and shoot right away or score off their assists, it's like the offense is canceled. And then Bron and them and Luka and them and Harden and them don't be just shooting whatever the defense gives them. They score in their specific ways. Where Tyrese just whatever you give me. You allow the step back three, I'm there. You allow the floater, I'm there. You allow the pass to the pocket, I'm there. You allow catch and shoot, I'm there. You allow from far you sagging off, going under the screen, that's a pull. Like he's just reading whatever. And then now when you have to worry about him so much dime, like that's like he's doing their play style at a real cerebral level. Because none of them have ever done 50, 40, 90. And his skill set enables the play style. That play style, this is the max version of it. Offensively. Which is why you're seeing greatness offensively from Tyrese. And that's why I love what I'm seeing from him, because it's crazy to see an unorthodox player do some shit like this. It kind of tests what we know as fundamentals sometimes. Oh, no, you can't. If you don't do this, if you don't shoot like this, it's never going to work. If you don't shoot, if you don't did it. Trainer, IQ, all that type of stuff. But it's like, dog, if you just master your craft, it don't matter what the form is. If you master and you figure it out, that's what I care about. That's what I try to. That's why even when I train, man, I be telling them, dog, you don't have to have the most conventional release. If your release is off in its front rim because of what you're sussing, then you change it a little bit. Yo, make it one fluid motion. Push it a little bit here. You're stopping here and then going like this. Go here and then arcing like that. Little details is going to help the release. But if you come off with a Fugazi release and it's splashing every time, you don't need to change nothing. You good? You good? Look at Shaw Marion. Like Kevin Martin. There's so many guys. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's beautiful to see that, and just I love what I'm seeing from the in-season tournament, and just from the Pacers, and we're gonna see a real battle. You know what I mean? Coming with the Lakers and the Pacers. It's just beautiful to see. So I like what I saw from the Milwaukee Bucks and the Pacers. It was a great game, a great damn game. Some tweaks that the Bucks can go away with. Remember, too, perspective, it's only the beginning of the season, which is beautiful. It doesn't feel like it. That's why this in-season tournament is Adam Silver, you hooping. You hooping. You know what I'm saying? It's beautiful. Whatever your team, all of that, like you guys, you doing it. You doing it. Continue, yo. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So you already know. I know I didn't mean to make this video this long, but there's some things I have to talk about. You know what I mean? Get off my chest. So let's go on to the next one, man.